Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, about 5 topics for this video. And the first one has to do with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he makes some statements. They call them controversial. That's the word they use. And I'm not going to analyze if the statements are controversial, but I'm going to analyze the ones who call the statements controversial, which have no credibility whatsoever. That's the first topic. The second one, we're going to find out that Canada is not protecting the rights of religious minorities. Remember India? All right. Well, the Indian government makes this claim and calls Canada a country that really doesn't protect its Hindu minority living in Canada. Next one. I told you, these guys have more ammunition than imbecile Trudeau. We're going to talk about Iran and the planned attack on Israel, according to some sources. Next one. Did you know that the first North Korean troops are actively fighting in Ukraine? Well, the Ukrainians are telling us already. And Mr. Zelensky asked for permission from his masters. The cat is up there, so if he's going to jump on my head, so be it. So Zelensky will ask for permission to strike them and strike again deep inside Russian territory. I have about 3 articles with that one. And the last topic has to do with China and India. Another failure for the United States diplomacy. I will show you. These guys are getting together and they're mending their fences. Why? Because it's a bigger fish to fry out there. Do you know who that fish is? All right, let's start with the beginning. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. This comes from CNN. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says fluoride, right? Fluoride is, and I'm quoting, an industrial waste, end quote, linked to cancer, diseases, and disorders. And CNN tells us, here's what the science says. I'm not going to read that, and I'm going to tell you why. Do you remember CNN telling us about the science and the masks? Yeah, I do remember that. If you forgot about that, smack. Okay, so when CNN tells me something nowadays, I don't go further than that. Now, between you and I hope nobody else is listening, when I was much younger, there were some words, there were some ideas in Romania. In Romania, we want to calm down? We're going to jump. No, wait a second. I can't have that. The eagle has landed. So I had a salinization for a meow meow. So what do we have here? Remember, I was talking about Romania. They were talking about the too much fluoride in water causes some problems. Well, that was 30 years ago or so. I know science will tell us that it's all okay, but remember, science told you about the masks as well and many other things as well. Okay? So for me, I'm not going to even read that. I think a certain quantity of fluoride does certain things, but that's beyond the point of this subject. My point here was I don't trust CNN telling me about the science. Next one. According to NBC News, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says a Trump White House would immediately push to remove fluoride from water. Robert F. Kennedy said Saturday that a Trump administration would on its first day advise all U.S. water systems to remove fluoride from public water. Well, advice is one thing, and the other one is would immediately push. So push is like a little bit of a you do it, and the other one is I advise you. Well, if you want to do it, fine. If not. Now, I don't know what the consequences, but think of this. I don't think these guys drink water. The tap water. He's talking about the tap water, the faucet. No, they drink Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, garbage cola, pee-pee cola. That's what they drink. So I'm not concerned about that shit. How many people drink tap water in the United States of America? Do they have any, But nevertheless, that's my point is I don't trust those guys a bit. And I suggest, what was the word here? word here. I advise others not to trust liars. Wink, wink, hint. So if someone lied to you, I don't know, 3,594 times, I think it's time for you to discard your little trust that you had on that particular source. If don't, and it's on you. The problem is this guy's vote. Who counts the vote? That's a different story. So let's see how India is going to charge the great country of Canada, which is perfect, and the Canadians, we Canadians, remember Justin Trudeau, we Canadians, we are nice to one another, all that jerk off when 1/3 of Canada is Canadian. Anyway, so remember Trudeau came and said that most likely, he didn't provide evidence, the Indians operated on the territory of Canada. They assassinated a guy, Sikh separatist, who wanted to break India apart, designated as a terrorist by the Indian government and so on. And we Canadians cannot allow that. It's a big mistake. Well, let's see how clean you are, mother. India condemns mob attack on Hindu temple in Canada. Oy vey, how could that be possible? How could it be? Because, you know, we Canadians are nice. Garbage. Pro-Khalistan activists have assaulted visitors at a shrine in Brampton amid a row between New Delhi and Ottawa. The Indian government has condemned an attack by alleged Sikh separatist activists on a Hindu temple in Canada, where a consular camp was organized by the diplomatic mission, calling the incident deeply disturbing. Yes, guys, you are not protecting the religious minorities in Canada. How about some United Nations sanctions, including the Americans sending some B-52s and F-16s on you, and then Trudeau taken and sent, like, what's his name? Gaddafi to his people, to meet the people? How about that? No? No? Oh, motherfuckers. Let's move on. All right, let's see what the Iranians or Iran says. Ukrinform. Iran planning powerful attack on Israel. Wall Street Journal. Again, these guys never lied to you, so yeah, trust them. Iran has escalated its hostile rhetoric. All bad. We know who the bad dudes are. Correct. Including through diplomatic channels with other Arab nations, indicating preparation for a new complex. What do you mean with other Arab nations? I don't think Iran is an Arab nation, is it? So with other Arab nations, okay, indicating preparation for a new complex attack on poor mini Israel that will involve more powerful warheads than previously used. And I'm quoting, amid U.S. warning against a counterattack on Israel, Iran is sending a defiant diplomatic message. It is planning a complex response involving even more powerful warheads and other weapons. The message reads. All right, that's one. And we have from the DPA International, Revolutionary Guard commander confirms new operation against Israel. Well, they will do it. They said they will do it before the elections in the United States of America. The elections, where you go and vote, will be tomorrow. So since from now till then, it could be an attack. That is about, what time is it now? It's about 10. So about what, 14 hours? Something like this. It must be done by these guys, according to the Iranians themselves. And it's going to be more powerful. What did the Israelis say? If that's going to happen, we're going to use different kind of weapons. What kind of weapons are you thinking of? Itzik. You know exactly what they're thinking. So, interesting enough, these countries are fighting like this. Boom. Wait. Boom. Boom. That's how this war, and it's an escalation only on one part, on one side, which is Iran. All right, it's gonna escalate, of course. Who's gonna be dragged in? The vassal state of the United States of America. Vassal to whom? You know. If you don't, we got a lot of work to do then. Or watch my videos more often and look at my clues, pick up my hints. Next one, let's find out how the North Koreans are already fighting in Ukrainska Pravda. Ukrinform. First North Korean soldiers come under fire in Kursk region. The first soldiers from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea came under fire in Russia's Kursk region. Where is that at? Kursk is right here. This is a map of Ukraine. This is Kursk. This is where NATO invaded Russia. I'm sorry, Ukraine invaded Russia. Right there. The first DPRK soldiers have already come under fire in Kursk region, he wrote, and this Ukrainian here for you. As Ukrinform reported earlier, according to the main intelligence directorate of the Defense Ministry of Ukraine, Russia deployed more than 7,000 soldiers from North Korea in the areas close to the border with Ukraine in the last week of October. Got it? So, they said the other guys are doing that. Why? Because they want the Westerners to kill the other Westerners. For whom? You know, I showed you, you know. All right, so let's go to see what Zelensky wants to do, because he defends the Ukrainians, because the Ukrainian nations did not have balls enough to be Ukrainians and tough. They needed a Zelensky's time to come in charge and weasel himself in and get you to work against the Russians. Zelensky proposes preemptive strikes on North Korean troops in Russia. It depends on our partners. So what does that mean? They want the partners, not the partners, the guys in charge of him, to tell him, you got the green light and you can use our weapons. Now, the Ukrainians, I think, can use whatever weapons they got, legitimate weapons, that they don't use the Westerners, to strike the enemy, which is in this case the Koreans. So if you are over there trying to fight me, you have a legitimate target, you are a legitimate target. But that works in reverse as well. So if you find an American over there or a Polish guy fighting against the Russians have the same right. No? Oh no, you know why? Because the Russians are the bad dudes and the other guys are the perfect dudes, right? Please, my friends. So Zelensky wants to receive the order from the master to defend itself, self-defense, and strike these guys maybe with long-range missile strikes deep inside Russia. It's a little umbrella covering operation. So it's because of you I can do this. So because you slap me, I can get your wife and no. I can slap you back though, or I can knock you out, not slap you back. Why do I have to match your level? But same here. Why does Zelensky have to match the Russian level? He doesn't, but there will be consequences for the Ukrainians, not for Zelensky, for the Ukrainian nation that he's destroying, I think, with destroying the Russian unprovoked attack. So let's see what's going on here. Ukrainian president, because he's Ukrainian, you have to understand that. Zelensky, because it's double Y, I don't know why, but double Y, Zelensky, renewed his pleas for the use of long-range weapons in Russia. Zelensky, that means the Russians will nuke the NATO countries. Got that? This is, if that occurs, if Zelensky is allowed to do that with American weapons, the Russians said that means NATO is involved and they could strike NATO countries. And they will probably have no patience and they will use nuclear weapons. Zelensky said Ukraine could strike North Korean troops there preemptively with such permission. So you see, they worm themselves in. Because of that, I need some long-range missile to strike those guys. But while I'm halfway in. The next one, what if I hit, I don't know, some military installations in, let's say, Moscow, with American weapons and with their satellites and operate it and all that. No. We won't do this. Pinky promise? Pinky promise. But the baboons believe it. Everyone, and I'm quoting this guy, everyone is just waiting for North Korean military to start striking at Ukrainians. Now you gotta make up your mind. We were propagandized here by the media operatives that everything Russia makes, weapons, condoms, are defective. The same thing with North Korea and Iran. Only we make the best. Only we. Right? And all of a sudden, they have a problem with the North Korean military starting to strike Ukraine. Their bullets will go like this. Bam! And they will shot themselves. That's, I don't know, too much Ta-na-na-na. Cocaine? All right. So, no, it's just... If they're you have to make up your minds. Start crying. Are they good or are they bad? You know, it depends on the circumstance. If they want to scare you, they're good. If they want to make you feel ballsy and yes, hit the motherfuckers, they're weak. We can fuck them up. So easy. So easy. Next one. Associated Press. Ukraine's Zelenskyy urges allies, there's no such thing as allies here, it's just master and vassals, to act before North Korean troops reach the front. Okay, and the Russians will hit you, Western Europe, and the Americans sooner or later. Zelensky wants green light to strike North Korean troops before they reach front. Aw, fuck off. Let's move on. So what do we have here? Sputnik. China, India successfully implementing border area resolutions, plural. Xi Jinping, Modi. The Chinese and Indian military are efficiently implementing the resolutions on a disengagement of troops in the region of Ladakh along the unofficial border between the two countries. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning said on Monday the Chinese, and I'm quoting, and Indian troops are implementing the resolutions that the two sides reached on issues concerning the border areas, which is going smoothly and wetly at the moment. Mao told a briefing when asked about the disengagement process in the eastern Ladakh. In late October, Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said that India and China has agreed on a patrol framework along the demarcation line known as the Line of Actual Control in the border area of Ladakh. Indian Foreign Minister Subrahmanyam Jaishankar, Dr. Jaishankar for you, also said that the two countries had completed the disengagement of troops in the region. So, good job. Why? Because you like when people get friendly with one another and they mend fences, right? Yeah. But those guys are not our friends, not designated as friends. Why? Because they don't follow our orders. So how do you like me now? You know that song, How Do You Like Me Now? Exactly. How do you like me now? These guys are mending fences within the BRICS organization's framework. Good job. Good job, the U.S. diplomacy. Works just like I don't know. This is it, my friends. This is it. I told you, the Americans, this government, these guys in charge of us, supposedly, they had a toolbox, diplomatic toolbox of, who's that? Who wants me? Nobody. Diplomatic, let's close that like that. They have 4 diplomatic tools since 1991, since they remained the only sheriff in town. There was threats, if you don't follow orders, blackmail, regime change, or spontaneous mass demonstrations and uprising, and then maybe a straight bombardment if you really need a little bitch slap. And the world saw that, and some of them were hurt by that diplomatic toolbox of the Americans in the past 30 years, 33 years to be about exact, after the fall of the Soviet Union. So they learn and say, my God, what's the alternative? Just take it deep. And how many times he comes over. That's what it is. But now, BRICS, you have China, Russia, India, Brazil, South Africa, you're going to have Iran, you're going to have Saudi Arabia, you're going to have probably Turkey, you have many other countries ready to go into BRICS. That means an alternative was formed. Hey, competition. Don't we like competition? Don't we like democracy? More people, vote diversity. Don't we like that? Capitalism, the freedom to choose, the right to choose. It depends on the circumstance. So here is, my friends, the Chinese and the Indians are getting together with the Russians, and we are left in the cold with our little sorry-ass plantation that these guys operate around the globe with about 40 countries. That is mainly the baboons in Western and Eastern Europe, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, and Japan, maybe Palau, Papua New Guinea, who else? Paraguay, and that's about it. And Argentina now, because they got the pimp Milei over there. Yes, sir. But Milei is going to be removed by the Argentinian military probably soon, with a spontaneous uprising. You'll see that. I'm waiting for that. The shock therapy that these guys give the Argentinian people will have ramifications. It depends who the repressive or the law enforcement agencies will back up the Argentinian people or the foreign interest in Argentina through Milei. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Milei today. I'm a poet. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.